meeting your friends here online. So today's session is about, you guys all must be knowing that we have an innovation council in our university, right? And some of you have already started working for it. We've got proposal from few of your classmates where they can, produce their work. So to motivate you more towards this and to know what exactly can you create and how to create and what is the process, so let's begin and see how does it go about. Okay, please confirm if my screen is visible.
Yes, ma'am.
It is visible, right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So yeah, I'm speaking about building an innovation or a product which is fit for market. So what do you think is fit for market? Anything that comes out, is it fit for market? And I want you all to interact, talk a bit.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
I feel something that is unique, I mean, which is not there in the market and in an affordable price compared to the existing product is something that is suitable for market.
Great. Yeah, that is
And also, ma'am,
yes.
that makes people's work easier.
Yes.
That also is acceptable.
Yes, right. And see, anything that comes out in market not necessarily is fit for everybody, right? Now we do have spoons, for example, right? Normal person can use a spoon very easily, but if a person having a certain kind of a disability might find it a little difficult to use that particular thing. And if you see, the cups that we have are generally meant for, very are meant for a right handed person, or say certain things are meant for only people who have for a general crowd, right? So likewise there are many such certain aspects which are included to see whether a product is fit for everyone or not. So let me just tell you what exactly a product or innovation is. Okay, a product is, as we all know, it is an article or a substance that is manufactured or redefined or refined for sale purpose, right? And then what is innovation then? Innovation is again creation, development, and implementation of a new product. It is a process of a service with the aim of improving efficiency or effectiveness or competitive advantage of a certain product. Then why do we call it a, why don't we call whatever product just an innovation? Why do we call it a product by end of it? Do you have any thoughts on it? Anybody? Do you find any difference between a product and an innovation, or are they same?
Ma'am, innovation is a better version of that, and a processed version of that, which is like we have done the experiment on the product, and now what was lacking in that we have done an innovation, I guess.
Yeah, quite
Ma'am,
appropriately put.
I
Yes.
feel innovation is more like a concept, whereas the innovative product is a final outcome.
It can't it be either way around as well?
Yeah, it can be. I mean, we can get inspired from an existing product and then innovate it and then relaunch a new
Right?
innovative product.
So
Yes.
every product that came out in market is a result of an innovation. And if a product is out, then you study, then you research, and then you see what are the lacunas, and then over that you work, you research over it, and then create another one. So you're doing improvements over another a particular product that's already there. For example, a very uh, great invention that we have for today's time is a smartphone. Earlier we had a phone that had a smaller screen. Just a minute, sorry. So why did we go from the small, that was that phone not good enough for us? Why did we go and make a product or a phone that has a larger screen, or having so many other things? Was the previous one not enough for the use? No.
Ma'am, that was but for better things and to develop more or for some different creations we evolved.
Right. So all products that are there, they have been evolved from time to time as more and more innovations are there in the market, right? So even for that matter, take in chair. If you go look at the previous or the older chair, how have they evolved and how have they been designed for various people, for various accommodations? So the product is a culmination of an holistical approach towards a certain element that you're going to use, right? It should include the timeline that it is supposed to be designed for. It should include the user that it is going to be designed for complete a kind of an element that is supposed to be used by everybody that is present. Okay. So these are the basic differences, but both the product and the innovation, they can be an service or an item. They can be physical, virtual, or it can be in a cyber form. Every product or innovation is made at a cost and it is sold at a price. Hence, it is called as a product. All right. If it is just meant for a certain use or something, we can't really put it in the definition of a product. Anything that is sold is termed as a product, and the thing that is in the result of an action or a process is a product and innovation, right? Let's go further. Now, who creates these products? Who creates or who invents things? It is an entrepreneur. We've all heard this term, entrepreneur, right? And we all have a sort of basic idea what an entrepreneur is. But now, what is entrepreneurship? What does it mean? It is defined as an act of starting and running a own business set by a person or a group of people, okay, where it is worked on a certain idea that is developed and worked upon, and with the need of time it is innovated, evolved, and sold in the market. Okay. It has a tendency to be creative and a wish to work for yourself in your own venture, and that is an entrepreneurship. So every product that is being designed right now, or whatever we use that you see, is a thought of one single person or an idea of one single person, which is then, later thought ki how can this be made into a kind of mass production, or meant for everyone. Now let us look, who are these people? These are all the familiar faces that we've seen, isn't it? Can you name a few of them that you see on your screen? I hope you
Mukesh
are all able
Ambani,
to see the
yeah.
screen.
Mukesh Ambani, Dhirubhai Ambani, Narayan Murthy, and
Yes.
Ratan Tata.
yeah, Ratan Tata, Mark Zuckerberg.
Yes. Is that all? Are
Steve
there more
Jobs,
images?
Elon Musk, Bill Gates.
Yeah, Elon Musk, and then
There are very
Gautam
few of
Adani.
you who are answering.
Gautam Adani.
Yes, yes, right. So these are a few famous faces that we all know of, and there are numerous entrepreneurs all over India and world who have been creating and working on certain innovative ideas that we see or have been using for in our day-to-day lifestyle as well. Now, what do they do? Is it just they make a product and sell? Is that all that they do? No, there are some more things that they are into, like just creating a product and selling it is not that easy. There is a process that involves in doing so. So they design, they create, they lead, they build on an idea. So to do so, there is a complete process that we are going to look ahead. Now, to build something, we need to design that particular. There is, first of all, to begin with, there is an idea, right? we all work on a certain idea that is generated due to some need. A user finds that a certain thing is not used as well as it could be, so there is a need in changing that particular thing. So to do that, there comes an aspect of design, and that involves the form, the function, and who are going to use that particular thing, the humans, right? So human is the main center point of creating all the products. It's all around a human being that these things are created. Now, what are these aspects of design related to? Now, this could be industrial design. Industry could be any kind of industry. A cyber industry could be, a manufacturing industry, could be even, institutional, could be any kind of industry that can create a form and a function. And then when it comes to the function and the human being, we have to have a design thinking as to how a person is supposed to use that thing. And then when you're done with designing, this form or the product has to go on in the market, and that is supposed to be done through the communication or through the marketing skills that is produced, right? So this is the entire basic cycle of how a design or an idea or a product is put out in the market. What are the importance of a basic design? Now, this is all that we have been learning from the first year. Most of the names that you see here, the terminologies that you see here, you have heard of them right from your first year. Utility, peculiarity, distinguishing feature, ergonomics, safety, what is the unique selling propositions, part of marketing strategy, and aligns with the company motto. Haven't we all heard of these terms? And we have already, heard, done a few part of the design as well in all our semesters. So all of these things that we already know of help us in designing a product well, or in a good manner. Now, what is utility? Any product that you create, it has to be something that is utilized by a person. Okay. For example, now we have, these are some modifications of what we call a two-wheeler, but it is just a one-wheeler over here. A person can use a two-wheeler in this form, he can use in this form. But any person a normal person would not go and buy a product of this kind. This is a very peculiar form of a product, right? Because a lot many things come to your mind when you're thinking, how do I balance this if I'm going to ride? How do I sit on this? How do I, take it to market? Or where do I put my stuff when I buy things, right? So these are all the things that come to your mind when you see such products which are not that great aspect of utility. Now, coming to peculiarity, we all have staplers at at our homes and with us, but the form that is being developed is again with an idea of the stapler itself, how a stapler is used. It does feel like it is to mouth being closed when it's punched, right? So this gives a very unique form of a crocodile mouth to have that kind of a form for that particular product. Now, ergonomics. We've all heard this term while studying anthropometry, haven't we? And this is a science where you deal with the human proportion and the product that you're designing. A normal keyboard that is there can give a lot of pain if you're using for a longer time. This is the kind of stress that you are going to have on your fingers, on your arm, on your hand. You might as well notice if you're using a mouse for a longer time in a day, you have a certain kind of pain or around your joints. But what if it is designed in a manner that hands are a bit apart from each other, and then it could be molded or easily used? So this is an ergonomic keyboard. Now it is upon the user, will they adapt to this one, or this is a more easier or feasible way of design which could be further used. So अगर ऐसा वाला डिजाइन बन गया है already, then why are they not that popular in the market? Why do you think these are not being used by everyone if such things are already there in market? Why are we still using the older keypads? Why are we still working on the ones which are, giving us pain? Any thoughts?
Ma'am, maybe because they're expensive
True.
or not
Such products
popular enough,
have evolved.
so
Yes.
people are not aware that they exist.
Yes. One, people may not be aware of certain things. They might be pretty expensive because there could have been extra materials that have been used. But then if they are, economical, would people go and buy it? What do you think?
Ma'am, if that's better for us and if they do proper marketing of it, maybe people will get attracted and they'll go and buy it. Just to try also, some people just buy these things.
Right? We have also done it. Yeah.
Ma'am, what I feel regarding this particular product is keyboards as such, they are, the large scale buying is, procurement is done by institutions and offices and huge firms where working people are, people of that age are not so much open to something new.
Hmm.
So when you're when a huge firm or a college is looking to buy a product, they don't want to try something new on such a large scale when they are skeptical about people, whether people will get adapted to the new thing or not. Like my father is a businessman who deals with all the computers and peripherals, and these kind of keyboards are not usually bought by the people who buy in large scale, like people of say 20 to 30. They do
But
come and try to
uh,
buy these things.
yeah,
So
see,
it takes
but what
time is what I
happens
feel.
if this product that is, economically done, if a businessman or anybody finds it way cheaper than the traditional keyboard, they will definitely go for
Yes.
the one which is designed in that way because it is beneficial for the user as well as it is easy on the pocket, right? So there
Yes,
are many
I also like
parameters
to add.
on
I
which.
also like to add one thing, ma'am. When these kind of products are not just like it should need not have more reach to general public, even if it has more wider reach to the one who sells it. Not the mediator, the retailer. Then if the product comes to a cheaper rate to the retailer, then he can sell it. He can promote it because
Right.
he'll large profits from that, and that way
Yeah.
people get
So
connected
these
to
are the
that.
parameters that are attached to, create when a new product is created, how well is it marketed, how well the user is, aware of it. And hence, when it goes to the market, the user also needs to know the new product, is it beneficial for him? Has it gone through all the tests? Has it been, used by many? So whenever you use or buy a certain phone, you look at the feedback, isn't it? Nowadays everybody, when before investing on anything, they are going to look at the feedback. So we need to know, that is what we are going to see further, what all things are again required. So these are the design aspect. Continuing to that, safety aspect of it. Now the pods, basic pods that are there are several designs of pods that we've come across. There are a few that is also, just hanging pods. There are these kind of pods which could be put on the railing. There are again pods which are, designed in a different way. Why do we need to have why is there a need to design pods which is as basic as to just plant, right? So everyone finds it easier to put it at a, it is not going to take much space. It is again going to be used with an element that is already there. So this is a kind of an thought when a designer can think how a product can be combined with an existing element, as that of the railing that they've thought of here. And it is also going to give safety. It's not going to fall down. You don't have to build a wall to keep a pod there, or build a certain, people build those weld things to place the pods. They don't have to do that if you have certain certain design with you. Now, this is a unique selling proposition. Here you find two different models. Obviously, you will say the one on the left hand side is the older one, and the one on the right hand side is the newer one, because as the time grows and as the need increases, you are going to modify the elements. Now, the design that we have over here, it was supposed to be meant for, earlier the distance and the cities were not too much. People didn't use the two-wheelers to travel across, or they did not need the fuel tank as big as that over here that you see, right? So it was the basic design that they came up with. But then when you want the product to be sold more as the time goes by, you have to also look into the needs of the growing generation or the growing designs that are coming in the market. And hence we have all sorts of these new designs that are there in today's market. And then these were all the design aspects. Now coming and looking at what are the steps of engineering to engineering a product through design. How do we go about when we have an idea, or when we have a solution for a thing? How do we go about it? Okay, the very first thing, that is ideation. When you have a certain idea, you're going to go sketch about it. Now whenever we give you a design problem or an assignment in any of your classes, we tell you just do sketches, or just put your thoughts on paper, not just one, two, as many as you can. So when you create many designs or many sketches, then you understand which one would be a better one where you can go ahead with it. Then you're going to have a design proposal. After that, you're going to have a feasibility analysis. What is a feasibility analysis? We'll know on that. Then you're going to make prototypes of it, a few of the products which are going to be used by certain people. And then you're going to take a feedback from those certain people. And then you're going to finally produce this design, which is going to go in the market. Now, the stepwise that we see again, these are the sketch forms that you're going to create. And the design project, what happens here is, you're going to manage, you're going to detail out the control of the projects, what is all the things that are required. And then you're going to, think how feasible or how well it is going to set up in the market. Okay. So design proposals are nothing but the startup ideas, which meets the requirements of the public, which is again appealing, which is practical, feasible, and has an approximate budget as well. And the process of product design is a whole lot of thing that goes together. It is idea screening. Just one idea, you get an idea, you can't just start working on it. You'll have to think what, again, for example, if I have to create a different kind of a pencil, will I just say that I'm going to make a curvature pencil? Will I make something that I can play with it, or I can, which could be easily carryable? Then what are the different screening things that I can do for it? And then the concept and the development and the testing part comes. And then how the product is going to be priced, or what are the materials that I'm going to use. That is all worked out. And then this is made into a commercialized thing. Then there is a market testing. Then there is technical implementation. And then the product is out for the market. So this is the entire basic process of how a product is designed. Why do we have to do a feasibility check? Why do we have to, see whether a product is good for the market or not? Because you've already thought of it. You know that there is a problem, and that is why I'm creating a solution for the problem. But why still do we have to do a feasibility check? A feasibility check is nothing but, it is a process where you understand, is it going to really last long in the market, or is it going to fail? So it is identifying whether the product is going to stay for a longer time, or is it not going to stay for a longer time. And what are the things that are required to do so? You have to do a market feasibility test where you understand how well it is working in the market. Are there any other competitive elements that are around this product? Are people going to be interested in buying this? How to look at how much will be the demand of it? How will I supply this particular thing? Okay, and how much capacity utilization will this product do? What is the financial statuses of these products? Everything is studied, and that is all what we call a feasibility check. It is done for right from a smaller thing to a bigger thing as constructing a certain project. Every project has to have a process of feasibility check where they understand. For example, even the metro, when it is built, right, you will have to see whether so many people are going to use it or they are not going to use it. Will this work for a longer term? Because there is huge amount of capitalization involved in that project. So this test is done in a format of a research before the product is being out. After you're done, after the product is out for a certain users, not for the whole public, the certain users are going to give a feedback to you, right? They are going to provide an end user perspective. For example, if I am supposed to use a certain product, if I'm supposed to use a certain thing, a phone for example, I'm going to check, does the battery last longer in the day, or is it going to uh, produce some kind of glitches around while I'm working? How the how is the network range for the phone, or all the aspects that is around it. So all the things, feedbacks are again taken by the people who have used it. They're reworked on it. After that is done, then the product is put out in the market. And before it is put out, pricing of the product is another important aspect, where you're going to see how the quality is. The quality again differs with respect to the material that you're using. We have many things, now many, for example, again, phone, why do we have phones ranging from 1 lakh again for 5,000? Why is there that much of a the gap between the pricing? Because there are certain things, the quality that is used in that element, that phone, are of a better quality, whereas in the lower one it could be of a cheaper material, could be made locally, could be made with all kind of elements that are bought locally, or or cheap. So hence the quality plays an important role in pricing. What worth is it going to put for a person? Is it economical or is it not? And then what money and the cost will be better when it goes on a wholesale market or to a retail shop? So these are all the thoughts that are going towards making a pricing for a product. So we are always supposed to think how a product should be market fit, or it has to be of that particular time that it is made in. Okay. So you have to understand what is the need of the market. It is not something that I feel like making something and I go make it and it is going to be sold. No, there has to be a need in the market, and then you're going to find a solution of a particular thing and then design that thing. Okay. And then the product must be fit to its value for the end user. For example, when we've just discussed the above examples, we spoke about how if there are things which are costlier, not a regular person is going to use it. It could be only meant for a specific customers who can use it if it is priced in a bigger amount. And then customer feedback is a really important aspect of a product, because by end of it, it is a customer who is going to use it for his own purpose. Again, a product should not be limited, or should be not called done once it is out. It has to be continued in a form of innovative methods should be used, and things should be added or changed, or made addition to it, or it should keep on growing and evolving. And as in, again, I'm saying the timing of the product must be right. So whatever need is for this particular time, we need to create such products, or such innovations should be thought. Now, because of everything is virtual or online, we see a tremendous growth. We had this Baiju, which is an a virtual teaching method that was there before, but didn't pick up. Maybe not many people were used to it. People were not okay with online teaching. But now the time is such that this is the only way that you have to go through. Hence, there is a tremendous shift in this online teaching and learning, that you see many apps are coming up, which are meant for teaching various things. So with the with the comfort at your home, you have several things for you to learn. So these are the few things that I wanted you to know, how you can utilize your time that you are at home right now. Think of having innovative ideas, create some new things which are going to solve a certain problem, and which could be beneficial for the market as well. So yeah, keep creating and keep innovating. And before I end this, there is your own classmate or your own person that we have, Prateet, who has created a certain thing which he'll be showing to you all. I hope you all get motivated by that, and yeah, hope it helps you to think and create as well. Prateet, over to you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
I'll present my screen. I hope my screen is visible, guys.
Yes, Pratit, it's visible.
Yeah. So, good afternoon, everyone, respected teachers and my dear colleagues. Like, it's really great to see you all together after a long time. I hope everyone is doing good. So, as Preeti ma'am has mentioned right now, we are all here to discuss about different innovative ideas and opportunities that can be part of our startup team or the innovation cell. Now, I would like to discuss few ideas, of the products which I have developed in last few years.
Prateet, I
Uh,
think you should, share it as a slide.
Oh, yes, ma'am, just a minute. Is it visible now, guys?
Yeah, it is visible.
Yes, it's visible.
Yeah, so I would like to discuss about few products I've designed in last few years using bamboo. So why bamboo? First of all, bamboo is one such sustainable building material which can be easily cultivated and harvested. So it can be reused and it is eco-friendly. And it is such a material which is very easier to bend. That makes it suitable to use even for organic shapes, for parametric constructions as well. And bamboo, it is a very strong fiber. The compressive strength of bamboo is 2 times that of a steel, which is an important fact that makes it usable in construction field. So these reasons had made me explore bamboo as a material for product designs as well as in my design studio. And thanks to my design faculty, Titan sir, Rutuja ma'am, Manisha ma'am, who had always encouraged me to use that material in my designs and learn about new joinery techniques. And further, I also went to a workshop at Hampi where I explored bamboo construction techniques for 4 days. So, as our college believes in learning by doing, Gauri ma'am has always encouraged me to uh, try using this knowledge in making something. So, with help of Sachin Gavde sir and also the carpentry workshop team, I made few products, and I'll be explaining each thing now. So, first, I'd like to speak about one of my best live project designs which I have made. Is a bamboo bollard. I have made this for my for my home. Like my dad wanted to add garden lighting in my house, so the quotation came up to around 30,000 to 40,000. I felt that I could take this up as a challenge and create a product which is unique, innovative, looks aesthetically pleasing, but at the same time, it should be eco-friendly as well as uh, economical. So I came up with this bamboo bollard design. Like lighting, it is one important aspect in landscape. We often neglect it. When we try to design landscape, we give so much priority to softscape, and in the hardscape, we only care about pavers, and sometimes we neglect landscape lighting. But uh, once we add lighting, it gives that stunning ambience and it highlights even the softscape elements we have used in the landscape. So, in order to beautify my garden, I came up with this design where I made a bollard using bamboo light. Uh, bamboo is, as we know, it is a hollow material and that can be easily split. So I have developed this bamboo bollard using a single pole of bamboo. And this design is inspired from calyx of a flower. As we know, the sepals or the calyx holds all the petals together and doesn't let the flower petals separate and break. So I took this design inspiration from the calyx. And here I'll explain about how the product is made. As we see, bollards are of different sizes. So the first and important step is we need to identify our requirement and fix the length of the bamboo. I wanted around 3 feet tall bollards. So first I have taken a bamboo pole. A general bamboo pole in the market comes around 18 feet to 20 feet. So we have taken, I have bought a bamboo pole from the market and have cut it using a desired length. As you can see in the picture, we can either use the mechanical cutter or we can just use a hacksaw blade to cut the bamboo, because bamboo is not very strong and since it is hollow, it can be easily cut. And we should not cut the bamboo at the nodes. If we leave the nodes and cut it in the center, it can be easily cut using a hacksaw blade. And after cutting the bamboo into the desired length, as I've just mentioned earlier that my design is inspired from flower petals and a calyx, I have used a splitter tool. As you can see in the image, that image is from Humpy workshop where he taught me how to split the bamboo using a splitter tool. So I have split the bamboo into 5 to 6 parts depending on the splitter we get in the market. So we can split the bamboo as a flower, and we can reinforce it with a metal string or a wooden circular piece, or even the bamboo can be bent in such a way to hold the things together. If we can't get access to the splitter tool, we can use ordinary knife and split the bamboo, which is little hard compared to the usage of splitter tool, but we can achieve that as well. So using that sickle or the splitter tool, after splitting the bamboo, we used a metal wire to tie it so that those splitted parts are held together. And after doing that, I have used a rope and a binding wire to tie those splitted fibers at different intervals, so that itself creates a lampshade kind of element or the head of the bollard. And and since bamboo is hollow, a small hole was made as you can see in the image, a small hole was made at the one point below the node, and wiring was done from there. So I can fix a small PVC bulb holder on top of that, and wiring can be easily done since it is hollow, and we can place a light bulb in that. And if we want to protect it from environment, since it lies in between the trees, and sometimes when we water the plants or in case of rain, in order to prevent damage of the light, we can put a glass case around it. And also today in the market, like this was made back in 2019 or early 2020, I mean around January, February of 2020. But today I found different options where I need not use a glass piece. Instead, we can use waterproof light bulbs and waterproof PVC holders. So that way we can leave it completely open and hollow and just fix the light. And this is the outcome. And here you can see the lights placed next to a porch. And once here the trees are not mature. Once these plants grow bushy and a foliage is formed, those lights add a greater beauty. I mean, they even make your plants get highlighted. So this is the outcome. Now, as Preeti ma'am has explained, what is a unique selling proposition? Why is this product unique from other products? Like if we compare this with ordinary bollards we find in the market, the starting price is around 2,000 to 2,500. I had around 50 feet by 20 feet wide garden. So if I have to light all that, at least I need 12 bollards to 15 bollards. So that goes up to 30,000. Whereas here I can make each bollard by 300 rupees. Since it is my first time making this, we sourced local craftsmen who helped me understand traditional joineries in making that. Like I made one, and since they are of a large number, and I'm not much experienced in handling this, that person has helped me to create these. But once we get better experience, we can do it ourselves, and it doesn't require much maintenance. We can just paint it once in 1.5 years or 2 years. And if it is exposed to so much of rain, then we need to paint it once in a year. And the paints are not even much expensive. We can just get a wooden polish or touchwood paint and can paint it easily. So that way, than these metal bollards which we find everywhere in the street, this makes it eco-friendly, and it adds a unique feature to your home. And this can be even added in balconies. We need not have large gardens where we can put these. Instead of bollards, we can make it as a hanging and can just hang it in our balconies. And if we can try to make it a little different, we can even use it as an indoor light for parties. If we can wind rope around it and then make it a little better, we can find different uses for the same product. So that made me develop this product, and now I want to explore doing something for interior on a similar note. And other reasons why this, as I mentioned just now, it is very economic. It doesn't cost more than 300 to 400 per one particular light. It depends on how many we manufacture. Because if I purchase a 20 feet long pole, I can do at least 3 or 4 from that, avoiding the wastage. So it depends on how many lights we are gonna make, and how we are going to install that, etc. And it is eco-friendly. As we know, everything apart from the light bulb and light, everything is something that we get from nature, and it is completely eco-friendly. And then natural look. It goes well with the surroundings, and if you place it in between the plants, that bamboo color and the stem color goes along very well, and that just looks like another plant that is been added there. And you don't get a feel that you are interrupting the nature. And then it is very easier to assemble and install, as I've shown in the pics, and doesn't require much skill labor, because it was my first time exploring something hands-on work on such a large scale. And the raw materials are easily available. And similarly, I have also made a small mobile stand. This I have made before lockdown, around a week before lockdown. One day we had a free period, and then I went to Gauri ma'am, and she said, she let me use the skill center, carpentry workshop, because we had some free lecture. So this just took me 1 or 2 hours, and I've interacted with Sachin Gavde sir, and I had some bamboo pieces which I've brought from the workshop. So because I was bored that day and I didn't have much work, I just came up with this mobile stand design, where I've taken a small bamboo piece and I've made a small slit in the center. And I had 2 other pieces which have kept on the either side so that the bamboo doesn't roll. And this I intended to use it in our classroom to put it on the drafting table, so that I can put my mobile there and it doesn't fall, slide up on the drafting table. But unfortunately, immediately after I made this design, we had lockdown, and then the college got shut, so I actually never got to use that product. But I've used it for a day or two, and it is something that is very easier to handle. And I did nothing much. I didn't spend anything on this. I've just taken that waste bamboo piece, and all I did was, after cutting the hole, I've just taken a sandpaper and I've rubbed it for around 20 minutes or so. All the effort I put was in smoothening that, so that it goes well with the interior, and it doesn't look like a crude form of element where it looks polished and neat. So this is one such product. And as we all know, architecture and product design is something those are interrelated. So on this note, in my first year for the Skill Utsav, we had a product design competition where we were supposed to use tires and design something. So Archita, Ronak and I have made a partition shelf using 3 tires and a wooden piece we sourced from scrapyard. So this was done in our first year. So similarly, we can try small products and then come up with small concepts and then make it much more practical and market friendly, and that way we can get the exposure of doing something in a live scale right from our college life. College days. Thank you. I would like to thank respected director ma'am, Preeti ma'am, and all the faculty for giving me this opportunity, and all my colleagues for being such a patient audience. Stay home, stay safe. Thank you.
Yeah, that was a good presentation, Prateet, of
Thank you,
your
ma'am.
innovation, what you have done. And you guys, it is not just him that we have in our college who has designed product. There are many of them who have designed certain thing. There are many of, a few of the students have come up with brilliant ideas of creating a certain market for their products. Ayush Nahar, Sakshi Kadu, there are many who have worked on certain things. These are just a few names that came to my mind. We have been working on how to develop this. You all must be aware that we have an innovation council that is headed by Gauri ma'am, and these ideas are taken by you, and then you are going to work on it, and the college will also help you to fund to create this product. Okay, so please take a note of it, and you have this time, utilize the time to make or create a certain new thing, right ma'am?
Yes. I would like you to stop the recording now, and we will.
Yes ma'am.